I feel like shit.
Monday, happy days. Wednesday, happy days.
It's just one of those
happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums.
It's just one of those days where you don't wanna wake up. Everything is everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you wanna justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet,
Just knock it off, you scum fuckhead.
it's just one of those days. It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those.
Happy days.
It's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, my cycle hums. Ready to extend.
It's just one of those days, feeling like a freight train. First one to complain, leaves with the bloodstain. Damn right, I'm a maniac. You better shoot, cause I'm fucking up your program. And if you're stuck up, you just locked up. Next in line to get fucked up. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just,
I'm losing my cool.
it's all about it.
Happy days.
It's just one of those,
Happy days.
it's just one of those days.
The weekend comes, my cycle hums. Ready to extend. These days.
Feel like shit. My suggestion is keep your distance. 'Cause right now I'm dangerous. Right now I'm dangerous.
Something's happening to the bonds.
And my day keeps going this way and this way. I'm gonna pop you one so you'll stop playing games. Give me something great. Give me something great. I hope you know I pack a chainsaw. A chainsaw. A motherfucking chainsaw.
What?
So come and get it.
What we got here is a case of mistaken identity, you know? See, now this here
Not Robert.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chief Moody, and welcome to episode 232 of the Mood of the Nation podcast. How is everyone doing this fine Tuesday afternoon? I was about to say Monday. Well, it's actually kind of funny considering I was supposed to be streaming yesterday, but I had some technical issues with my hardware, so that's why I couldn't do a stream yesterday. But hey ho, that happened, and we're here now. So yeah, I'm back. Also, just a little bit of an update in terms of future episodes of Mood of the Nation. I'm actually thinking about streaming on a Saturday instead of a Monday. The reason for it being is because at the moment I'm usually off during the weekend, unless if I get called in to do like a morning shift for a Saturday. I mean, even then I'll still do a Saturday anyway. But I'm thinking about maybe doing a Saturday stream at 7 p.m. I think that would make it easier, really, for me when it comes to it. But that is, if you guys are actually in favor of that, then that would be great. Mondays for me, I don't mind doing a stream on the Monday or even throughout the weekday if it's possible. The problem for me is I might have even said this on the show before, but I usually wake up for work around about 3:30 in the morning. So you can imagine, even when I get the bus back from my work to go home, I often just like fall asleep on the bus, and I'm just like really tired and exhausted. I just literally just want to go home and just chill out for the rest of the day until I go back into work. Or even if it's a Friday night, then chill out, and then of course until the weekend comes along. So yeah. So again, Mood of the Nation is still going. I'm thinking about doing a stream every Saturday at 7 p.m. I think it just makes it easier for me when it comes to that. I do see quite a lot of people in the chat, or only 16 people watching, which is really good to see. So that's really good. But let's have a look and see who's in the chat. I probably would imagine, sorry, excuse me, people who regularly watch the show and people who have also been to the PA camp this year, which will be the main and only topic we'll talk about for this episode. I'm only going to do the stream for about maybe an hour long, maybe just before an hour type of thing. The other reason is because at 7 p.m. I got something important to partake in. So yeah, this stream might be cut short at some point, but just again to give you guys a bit of a heads up with that. So let's see let's have a quick look in the chat and see who's here. So Streaky Bacon is with us. Inshallah, Streaky Bacon. This would be great hearing about the camp. Thank you very much. Joe Marsh is in the chat. Thank you very much, Joe. He was also at the camp as well, which is really good to see. Aunt Sally is with us. How you doing, Aunt Sally? Who I believe I did see her at the camp this year, but I didn't get a chance to go up and say hi or anything like that. Same thing with Jody K. Jody was there as well, but again, it was a case of like I did get a chance to say hello to them because they were busy talking to other people. I was busy talking with other people and all that. And honestly, this year's camp is definitely, in my opinion, the biggest. There was definitely a lot more people there this time around, and I'll even say, make a point about this. I actually don't know how we're going to top the camp this year in terms of going forward. I don't know how we can actually top this camp. I mean, maybe we might next year, but who knows in terms of getting more numbers or anything like that. But I definitely do agree that this year's camp is definitely the biggest in my opinion. So Joe Marsh in the chat writes, I'll be streaming with James Goddard next Monday at 6 p.m. on Twitter. Well, there you go. Please write that down in your calendars if you can. So that would be Monday let me check my calendar real quick. Just go double check that. Monday the 14th based. So there you go. Yeah, I might give that a listen, but the problem for me when it comes to X, those spaces or whatever, it's a little bit awkward to try and interact with it because sometimes I would try to maybe write a comment or anything like that in that chat, but I don't know if I'm supposed to open up like another page specifically for that or if it's meant to be something entirely different. But I don't know. I think X for me is a little bit awkward to try and try to interact with that sort of idea. But maybe some point I'll give it another try. Yeah, even Aunt Sally in the chat is even writing, hi Moody, I saw you at the camp but I never got the chance to chat to you. I know, same here. It was similar for me. It was a case of there was a lot of people I was speaking to as well within the camp this year. I wasn't expecting to do the hike this year, but I'll get to that a little bit later on. But anyways, William Wallace 2 Scooby-Doo News, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching. He was also at the camp as well. Richard, man, the fall guy. A bit of a funny story with that. I'll tell a little bit later on. Jay, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching. Big guy, New York State here. Oh, excellent. An American in the chat, which is really cool to see. Actually, speaking of which, there actually might be there actually were a couple of Americans that came to the camp this year, which is really cool. One was from actually, I don't know if I really it's not like anything major, but actually, yeah, maybe I shouldn't say like location wise or anything like just in case with that. But all I will say is they were Americans that came to the camp this year, which definitely for me gives the camp a bit more of a. It's still inherently British. Don't get me wrong. Of course, the English, the Scots, the Welsh, and the Irish, etc. There definitely does feel a bit more like a mass European feel to it this year, in my opinion. I know there's like a big kind of debate about America and the whole European history to it, that sort of thing. But I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna delve too deep into that. Jojo Gizmo's in the chat with us. How you doing? Thank you very much for watching. And Aunt Sally also writes, there was also a lot of PA lightweights who didn't want to camp staying at local B&Bs. They still did the hike though, unlike me. That's fair enough. Yeah, I did see there were a few people that did hire some B&Bs or some hotels pretty close by to the camp that they stayed in as well, which actually, I'll be honest, right, I was kind of thinking about doing the same thing, but the problem for me was that, two things. One was maybe about like money type of thing, which I don't know if I was able to afford it at that point, but even then I kind of figured, well, this was my fourth time in a row going to a PA summer camp, and I've slept in tents before, slept in cars before. Not exactly pleasant, but I've done it in the past, so I'm sure I would be able to do it again. It's actually kind of funny with the travel to the camp this year. But again, I'll get to that in a moment or two. But yeah, so just before I get into the actual stream itself, I should have asked this question before the show started, but can everyone actually hear me with this microphone? There's no any. It's not too loud. It's not echoing or anything like that at all. Is it actually coming in fine when it comes to it? Native Scott, how you doing? Thank you very much for watching Mood of the Nation. Hope you're doing well. So yeah. Also, there might be a chance with the stream that the camera might pause. It's for some odd reason it's doing this really gay thing where it just completely stops, and then I would have to turn the camera off, do some kind of rewiring. Well, not rewiring, but like selection, and then bring it back to the camera I'm using right now. So that actually is starting to work again, which I don't know why it's doing that, but anyways, sound chief. Yeah, it's not bad audio wise. Thanks for okay, that's fair enough. Excellent. Well, that's really good to hear. Anyways, so let's get into the PA Summer Camp. Well, I think it's been now rebranded as the PA Family Festival now, which I mean, it definitely does feel like that a lot more this time around in terms of like the rebranding with the PA camp. So yeah, audio is fine. Thank you very much, Aunt Sally. That's good to hear. Right. So let's get right into it. So Friday afternoon, I was in Camelin, which is next to Falkirk. For those that don't know, I was waiting to get picked up by a colleague of mine who is in PA Scotland. This will be the second time in a row where we've talked about how we're going to get there, and he volunteered to give me a lift up to the camp. But the problem is he couldn't exactly take me back home because he had to go further down south for whatever reason. But he was willing to give me a lift to the train station for me to get a train back home to where I lived. But that is, of course, if I didn't manage to get another lift from anyone else, which of course I did get a lift from William Wallace too in the chat. But again, I'll get to that in a moment. But anyways, I got picked up by my colleague. I won't say his name, obviously for privacy's sake, of course, because he's not a public person, of course. But there was a bit of a. It's kind of funny because I remember we did chat about the meetup times and all of that, and I remember it was supposed to meet up. Well, we were supposed to meet up around about 1:30 in the afternoon. Did the midges terrorize you, Chief Mooney? You know, I did make a post about that on Telegram, and thankfully, no midges managed to bite my skin this type around. You know, it was actually kind of funny. I'll just kind of going further ahead a little bit. When we actually did the hike this year, the start of the hike, I did see some like flies. I thought they were midges that were flying around, and I'm just like, oh god, here we go. I'm gonna get bitten by midges this time around, but thankfully I've not been bitten by midges. I don't know if you can also see my leg. There's not exactly, yeah, I'm all good. So yeah, no midgie bites this time around, which is a plus for me when it comes to this year's camp. Anyway, so my colleague picked me up. This would have been about just after 3 in the afternoon, which I was like, all right, fair enough. I mean, I was hoping maybe a bit earlier than that, but you know, he's arrived. We're now getting ready to get down to the camp. That is until he tells me he wanted to take a couple of detours before we actually get to the camp. And I was like, yeah, okay, cool. We could do that. As long as we get to the camp in time, then I'm happy with that and no bother. So he wanted to go down to Dumfries to go to a specific farm shop to pick up Scottish potatoes that are grown at this time during the season, during the summer. And the reason why he wanted to do that was because he wanted to give them as gifts for people to try out specifically Scottish made potatoes, that sort of idea. I don't know why, but I mean, okay, fair enough. I guess because in the past, you know, whenever we go to the camps, we try out English type of meat, you know, Welsh. Well, this year around, I did try out some Welsh sausages, which were really nice. At the same time, though, for me, it's like, well, they're sausages. I don't see how they're anything specific or different or anything like that at all. But I guess that's just me being being a complete glutton for food. But anyways, that's beside the point. So regarding to the place, so we didn't get to that farm shop until maybe I think it was either 6 o'clock or maybe just after 6:30. The problem was that store didn't close, and well, the store closed hours before then. It closed around about, I think it was either 4 o'clock or 4:30 in the afternoon. So yeah, of course we were too late for that. So then of course we would then go to the next detour, which would be the it's his favorite station place to go to get food at, which was I think the T-Bay or T-Bay station T-Bay. I think it's T-Bay, but anyways, but we went there to get something to eat, and we'd stayed there for about this would have been 8 o'clock in the evening, which I did kind of say in the group chats that we're gonna be at the camp around about 8:30. Unfortunately, that was not meant to be. Instead, we stayed there for about maybe an hour, so about 9 o'clock. And that's when we were just like, right, we've done that. Let's actually get down to the camp now because I think we're going to be late. So we did drove to the camp. We did get lost because that's bound to happen because we don't know the specific location. That's mainly my fault because I tried to look at the map and see where exactly we are and whether or not if we're going the right way. It turned out that his map was actually correct, but I thought it was wrong, type of thing. So, but anyways, we managed to sort that out. We got to the camp. This would have been around about just after 10:30 at night, which of course is a bit late, but we managed to get there in time. The first people we actually came across with the camp was actually other members of PA Scotland. Well, I say other members. One of them would be Richard or William Wallace too, which I was quite surprised of because last year I know they came down to the camp on the second day, being a Saturday, and I wasn't actually expecting them to be there that early, but hey ho, they came to the camp on Friday, which was really cool to see. And it's a shame because I wished my colleague and I were down at the camp earlier, again, to interact with them, speak with other people and all of that, but it is what it is. And hopefully we've learned a lesson this year, and hopefully for the next year's camp, we'll be there sharpish next time around. And also when it comes to the tent situation, when we got there that Friday night, I was thinking about setting up my tent, but considering the fact that it was getting pretty late at night, or at least the vast majority of people who were there at the camp were probably already in their tents. Maybe they're like sleeping, maybe trying to get some sleep, just so that they're all up and prepared for the hike the following day. So my colleague was like, look, how about maybe just leave the tent now. You can, if you want, you can sleep in the car if you want to, just like last year. And I'm like, I mean, it's better than nothing. So I did that, and it wasn't exactly comfortable, but it was funny because I saved that, but it was actually not too bad. Like looking back on it, in terms of like, I wasn't exactly shattered or like too tired or anything. I was actually kind of like refreshed after that. I was just like, oh well, yeah, I'm actually okay to go, type of thing. But yeah, so Saturday morning comes around. That's when I got my tent set up, and I did manage to speak to a few people like Mark Collett, that is, and I managed to speak to, I think, some people from the East Mids, I think the region they're from. Spoke to Joe. Wasn't there at that point. He was going to come down later on, I think maybe after the hike, but I did speak to, again, one member of PA Wales. Not going to mention their name because they're not public members or figures, so obviously just for privacy's sake, but I managed to speak to them for a bit. A really good guy, and yeah, I was happy to see them at the camp this year again. So I'm trying to think. So set the tent up and everything and all of that. Then, of course, it was all getting ready to go for this year's annual hike. Now, I'll be honest, right? this time around, I was thinking about maybe not bothering doing the hike because I was kind of like, well, I did kind of get to the camp, but didn't really get the chance to, speak to everyone there, type of thing. But even saying that, I went on to the hike anyway. I went on to the big hike, which is, I think a lot of people would say the main hike, which again, I was like exhausted after that. I was like really tired. I actually drank a lot of water, a lot of juice after that. I was damn thirsty after that hike, to say the least. But we did it with that. So after that, that was when we had the big barbecue, and of course everyone was chilling out after that and just relaxing and talking to one another. This year's camp as well, there was a lot more activities this time around. I know Mark and Laura already mentioned on their stream this past Sunday. There was a marquee this time around for a lot of the parents and kids, to play like the toys and other activities in there. There was also, if the kids weren't around, there was also like a dartboard for some of the guys to partake in, which, that sounds pretty cool. I didn't participate in it because I'll be honest, I've only played darts maybe here and there, and I completely suck at it. So I have seen darts. I kind of know how it works, but even then, I'm sure if I were to get into a competition with someone, I would completely get my arse handed to me when it comes to a game of darts. But that was that. There was also, I was going to say karaoke, but that's technically not the case. There was like a music area for the PA Music Club. I believe Jodie Kay did a few songs for that as well, which I didn't get the chance to see. I did hear her from a distance, but again, I was busy talking to other people at that point. In fact, I was actually hanging around with a lot of the, I say a lot of, but again, I was mainly hanging around the rest of that evening with Joe, the member from PA Wales. Again, I'm not going to mention their name because of your privacy sake. Actually, two of them, but again, they're not public figures. I'm not going to mention their names or anything like that at all with that. So, and also Richard or William Wallace too would show up as well from time to time because he was going a bit around within the camp, speaking to other people like English Wanderer, who I did spoke to briefly, but there we go. So yeah, Basil Faulty, is in the chat. How you doing, Basil Faulty? And yeah, just real quick as well, during the hike, there's actually a thing that I almost forgot to mention, but it was good to see that Basil Faulty. It was good to see your face at the camp because I know you came to the camp this year for the PA summer camp, which I was actually quite surprised of because when you actually said your username, I was like, oh, you're so and so, right? That's actually pretty cool. But Basil, it was a pleasure to meet you in person. I do apologize that I didn't spoke a lot during the hike. I'll be honest. I was exhausted. I was tired. I was desperately wanting a drink of water at least. And my at that moment, my mind was just like, right, let's just get through this hike and get back to the camp. That's all I was thinking with that. So not just Basil as well, but I know there was other people that tried to speak to me as well during the hike as well. And for those, please don't take it the wrong way or anything like that at all. I wasn't trying to keep the conversation cut short or anything like that at all. Like I said, I was just desperate for a drink of water. I was exhausted. I was tired. And I was just thinking one thing in my mind, which is, right, get through this hike and let's just get the hell out of there, just get back to the camp. But yeah, so I saw in the chat real quick. It was lovely hearing Jodie Kay singing again. Also, the chap who played the violin so beautifully with her. Yeah, I have seen footage of. It might have been actually the same person who did the music as well with the previous camp events. So yeah, I actually wish I would have seen that. Maybe it might show up in a video on YouTube or whatever. But that is what it is when it comes to that. But Basil Faulty in the chat, likewise, man. No worries. The hike was brutal. It was pretty brutal, yeah. And what made it worse for me was I I'm pretty sure people might have seen images or maybe seen the video clips on either Telegram or Odyssey if they're up on Odyssey. But for me, when I was doing the hike, I was an unfortunate soul of carrying the big flagpole that had the flag, the PA Scotland flag on it, and it was a big long motherfucker of a flagpole, which I can't stand because every single time when there's like a more like a pathway that has like big trees, branches, and all that in the way, my flagpole would just get caught right into it. And I'm just like trying to adjust it, just like obviously that's me being in the way of other people, and I'm just like, sorry folks, I'm trying to get this bastard flagpole out of the trees, but yeah, that was a real pain in the arse at times. But I did try to lower it at certain points of the hike, and the problem with it was the bottom part of that flagpole. There was like a big hole that, if it does go down, the stick ends up going through it. That sort of thing. So there wasn't exactly like a, what's it called, like a little cup to kind of hold it in, sort of idea. But which meant that I had to basically literally carry it from underneath it and just kind of hold it to my shoulder. You might have seen images of it already on Telegram, but yeah, it wasn't exactly a pleasant experience, especially when we walked up the moors. And I know Mark did say to people in advance to maybe wear more suitable clothing for the camp. I was kind of like underestimating the hike, in my opinion, because I just wore this shirt, my black jeans, and the only thing that I did have, and also my green jumper as well, and my flat cap as well. The one thing that I thought that would have been suitable for the hike was the steel-toe boots. Not exactly hiking boots, but boots that I would wear for like a warehouse type of work environment. And yeah, it's probably best suited for that environment and not for a hike environment. But I thought maybe they would be best to help protect my feet when I'm walking in those type of terrains and whatnot. But anyways, but yeah, the moors was pretty brutal. And yeah, I think obviously I'm going to try and get to the camp next year. And if I'm going to do a hike, I'm going to make sure that I'm actually going to take some, maybe one, no, actually two water bottles, just so that one ends up running low and I at least have a backup sort of thing. So that's what I'm going to do this time around. I think I definitely underestimated the hike this year, but yeah, I definitely learned a valuable lesson when it comes to hikes, to to say the least, with that. So yeah, but anyways, going back to the timeline. So I chilled out with PA Wales for the rest of the night, and also my colleague Richard also chilled out as well. Richard was the one to give me a lift back. Well, it was him and a couple of other people. Again, not going to mention their names or any if they're related or anything with that at all. Again, because they're not public figures, and obviously want to try and keep that as private as possible when it comes to that. But they were the ones that managed to get me a lift back home after the camp. It was very similar to last year, in fact, which I was really happy with, considering that if I wasn't able to get a lift from them this year, I at that point had a backup plan, which is I already bought a ticket for the train from, I can't remember what station it was, but it was a train that was, it was from that station to Stirling. And then, of course, I would figure out, maybe get like another train from Stirling back to Falkirk, you know, and so on when it comes to that. But no, thankfully, Richard and Co managed to give me a lift for that, which I was really happy with. So yeah. But anyways, so we chilled out. I had a couple of drinks and that. Well, I had a drink. I had one drink, which is a bottle of Copper Bear, which was quite nice. The strawberry and lime flavor I would normally drink, but I didn't stay up until maybe just after 10 o'clock, maybe 10:30, because at that point I was yawning a lot, and I thought, right, as tiredness is starting to kick in, I'm just going to head to bed. And also, Richard and Co told me that if they were going to try and go like first thing in the morning. I was like, right, that's fair. I'll probably be up early at that point anyway, which I did. I actually woke up on Sunday morning around about 5 o'clock in the morning. I would just stay in the tent and just like chill out, of course, for a bit. But yeah, so we got up, packed everything with that. I did say goodbye to just a couple of people, not everyone. Again, because like either they were busy, they were either sleeping still, or maybe they were busy doing other things, like talking to people, not anything like that at all. But yeah, so but yeah, and then of course we set off back to Scotland, and that was pretty much it. So yeah, I definitely enjoyed myself this year's camp. The- If there was maybe like, I know I was kind of I did give like a short interview for the camp this year. I don't know if that video was up on Telegram at this point in time, but there was a question that asked me and others, if there was anything to improve about the camp, what would that be? And at that point, I didn't think of any improvements whatsoever. Sorry, excuse me. I thought there wasn't anything to maybe improve upon when it comes to the camp, but if there's one thing that I would maybe say about the camp, and I think a lot of people do share the sentiment as well. As much as everyone has enjoyed the camp and everyone had a lot of fun with it, and it's definitely one of the best family events for families when it comes to this PA camp this year. If there's one thing that a lot of people would say that people felt it was a bit too short, Monday through Sunday, it's like, well, that's 1, 2, well, it's 3 days, but you're technically making it as like 2 days, and then you're leaving on the Sunday. I think a lot of people tend to want it to be maybe a day longer, like whether it be a Thursday or maybe like a Monday type of thing. But I don't know when it comes to it. But maybe that could be like an idea to maybe put upon. Maybe it's more like a financial thing when it comes to it. I don't know, but I do share the sentiment with others that I just wish the camp was a little bit. I don't know if people who've been to the camp this year might agree with this, but I just wish the camp was maybe a day longer, because it kind of felt like this year. And again, I know myself and my colleague came there a bit late, but it kind of felt like as if you arrive on Friday, whether it be in the morning, in the afternoon, or maybe in the evening. Maybe for me, it would be late at night. But you arrive at the camp on Friday, you talk to people here and there, you then get some sleep in your tent, wake up on Saturday, you do the hike and whatnot, then you come back to the camp and have the big barbecue, then you chill out with other people. And then Sunday morning, whether you're wanting to go first thing in the morning or maybe like during the afternoon, you're pretty much gone on a Sunday, and that's really pretty much it. And it's like, well, I really want to maybe spend a bit more time with other people when it comes to it. But I mean, maybe that could maybe we can have a look at that for the next year's camp. I don't know, but it is an idea to kind of put out there when it comes to that. So PA weekends go so fast, Chief Minute. Yeah, they definitely do, especially with the conferences, in my opinion. But and Sally, I've always said that the camp should be for 4 days. That seems fair. I could definitely see that, because I think the Monday through Sunday time is a bit too short, in my opinion, when it comes to it. But again, maybe we could try and do that for next year's camp or maybe the year after. I don't know, but the fact is, it is an idea to again throw out there when it comes to that. So again, definitely be used for consideration for the next camp. Oh yeah, real quick from Basil Faulty. The pole you carried was huge. It must have been awkward as fast fought, but you did it. But you did it. So fair play. Yeah, I did. So that's fair enough. Um, yeah, but we did it with that. So Neil Bonnie Lad says sound. I miss his YouTube Saturday streams. I'm assuming that's Bonnie Lad, which is Bonnie Lad still. I know he's still kind of around on Telegram, but yeah, I do miss the times when he would do streams on a weekend or a Saturday. But anyways, I think that's really it when it comes to the camp. if there was any people I did spoke to at the camp in terms of like I spoke to briefly with Mark. I spoke to Joe and his members of PA Wales. Spoke to some of the guys from the East Meds. A couple of the guys from PA Yorkshire. I spoke to. I finally got the chance to have a little. Well, I say chat. It was myself and my colleague. My colleague was the one who was mainly speaking to her, but we managed to have a little chat with Lady Michelle Renouf, and it was pretty cool to speak to her because apparently, well, from what she told us, that she's a big fan of the Scots, and it was something, and the reason for that is because that she is a fan of Scottish people because they're the ones that exposed a certain thing or like something to do with it wasn't psychiatry. It was something. It was something in particular. I can't remember what exactly it was. But long story short, she's a big fan of the Scots, which I was quite happy with. So that was pretty cool to hear. Oh yeah, I also spoke to Laura just a little bit. But again, it was one of those cases like like a little catch up type of thing. But then again, there was other people that were there. I think even at that point when I spoke to Laura, everyone was getting ready for the hike going out. So yeah, it was like, well, what can you really do when it comes to that? So, but it is what it is with that. And that's pretty much it for the camp in general. Overall, I enjoyed it this year. I did wish that I got to the camp a bit early on Friday, but again, it is what it is with that. And maybe even hopefully in the future that it would be more than the 3 day or technically 2 days if you want to be technical with that. But other than that, I really enjoyed myself. I had a lot of fun. And yeah, I can't wait to go to next year's camp. And I'm also looking forward to this year's conference, which not sure when exactly that will be. And I think it's something I'll need to have a look into in terms of dates for like work and all of that, because I'm going to try and see if I can make it to the conference this year. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed myself with that. We invented everything, mate. I'm proud of Stream Engine, Tarmac, and yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, Scott. And Sally, I didn't get a chance to speak to Laura either. Only briefly spoke to Mark. He was just so busy running around doing things. I didn't see either of them sit down, to be honest. Yeah, I know. They were like extremely busy with that. And of course, Mark being Mark, he always gets really like stressful when it comes to these types of events. And it's like, Mark, relax. Okay, like, look, everyone is having a lot of fun. Everyone is enjoying themselves. And usually by the end of these events, when it comes to the camps, everyone always says that they enjoyed the camp and they can't wait to come back next year. So, but again, I can understand why Mark would be stressful in those situations because he wants it to, he wants it to be top notch and not anything go awry type of thing, which I can understand that. At the same time, it's like, look, dude, relax. Look, just chill out a little bit. It's fine. There's nothing bad happening or anything like that at all. Everyone is happy and everyone is enjoying themselves with that. So, but yeah, that's all I can say on the matter with that. What time is it? 6:41. I can maybe go on the stream for another 10 minutes, and after that, I would need to go because I got something important to participate in later on at around about 7 o'clock ish. So what we could do for the last 10 minutes of the show is that we could do like a short Q&A section or questions and answers type of section. So at this point in time, I'm just going to get the banner up here just now. Where is it? There it is. Q&A, ask a question in the chat. So at this point in time, if you have a question to ask me, just feel free to ask me a question in the chat and I'll be happy to answer it. And then when it gets to about maybe 6:50, 6:51, that's where I will cut the stream because again, I've got something important to get into with that after the stream. There's an awful lot of stuff Mark and Laura have to do that we don't see or realize they're doing. I just know that they never stop. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Yeah, they're very very busy people, especially when it comes to setting up these types of events. But yeah, definitely when it comes to that. So definitely. Sorry, I'm just checking my phone. Live on YouTube. That's fine. Yep, that's okay with that. No worries. Sorry, folks. I'm just checking my phone to see anything's popped up. While I also wait for a question to come through. What's this? Wait a minute. No. No. Sorry, I received a, a video from the camp. This was actually a video of me holding that flagpole during the hike. I think this would have been maybe the last part of the hike, and yeah. So I'm not going to show the video here because because again maybe this would have been, or they wanted to edit it or anything like that. But yeah, I'm not gonna play it just now with that. But it was pretty cool nonetheless. Anyways, I'm off for dinner, but good to see you again. Good to see you again, Native Scott. Thank you very much for watching the show, and I hope to see you again in the next episode. Um, until then, anyone got a question? Again, anything at all, I'll be happy to answer it. Anything at all. I'll wait for maybe 5, maybe 6 minutes. Streaky Bacon, how many people were there, Chief? So I think overall, from my estimation, there was maybe around 200 people that were there at the camp. In my opinion, there was definitely a lot more families that came to the camp, a lot more parents, and a lot of they brought a lot of their kids to the camp this year, which definitely gives this year's camp more of a family festival type of vibe to it. So with that, I definitely would agree that overall it was maybe 200, maybe more than 200 this time around. But again, that's just me when it comes to it. Run Rocket to the Moon, thank you very much for watching the show. How you doing? I was saying that also depends on what day they're coming to the camp. So the first day, the Friday, people, I think there was about maybe 100 people or 100 plus people that came to the camp. Those are people that are that want to be there on day one, that sort of thing. And then for the Saturday, those are people that are coming into the camp. Either they're doing the hike, or maybe doing the hike and then staying around for the big barbecue, or people that would show up and they don't do the hike, but they want to come around to hang out, during the big barbecue, and then maybe they was go home, or maybe they would stay in a local B&B or a hotel type of thing. But yeah, that's a great amount. It was, yeah, definitely. It was definitely massive this year, I felt. Were there any shower or toilet facilities like plastic thunder boxes? Well, so on the campsite, there were 4 toilet stalls type of thing. So that's either if you want to take a piss or a shit, then you got those 4 toilet stall blocks, whatever they're called. Not exactly pleasant. So if you're not exactly a fan of that, if you walk further to the farm, there is actually both more posher toilets and also a shower facility. So it's basically like a big a big white block of 4 doors, and each door inside it there's a shower with a sink and that sort of thing. So yeah, thankfully there were showers, and of course there were toilets and all of that. So if people need to go for a shower, or maybe to do a toilet and all of that, then that's completely fine with that. So was it accessible by public transport? Well, when it comes to the camp itself, you could definitely put your car through the camp as well. In terms of actually getting there, I think it really, in my opinion, it just really depends on whether or not if you're good at reading the map or not. Because, like I said at the start of the show, my colleague's phone actually got the location correct, but I was the one that was like, no, that this can't be right. Maybe it's this way. And of course, I ended up getting us lost because of it. But, anyways, but yeah, so it is accessible for public transport. In fact, I think the camp as well is actually next to, if I'm not mistaken, I think either a main road or like the like a motorway type of thing. But so it's pretty close to that with that. So um but yeah, and Sally, I think there may be just as many who stayed in B&Bs as those who stayed in tents. There was always a constant stream of people arriving. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. You would definitely see that more on Saturday, whether it be the morning, during or just before the hike, or even afterwards. You could definitely feel that like there was more and more people arriving, and there was more people, uh, of course, arriving for the camp as well. I know Mark was running people back and forth to their B&Bs the whole time. Yeah, he was helping out Lady Michelle Renouf, and I think. Oh wait, was it just Lady Michelle Renouf, or was it someone else as well? It might have been Lady Michelle Renouf, but anyways, yeah, he was definitely helping some people back and forth in terms of travel and all of that. So, well, the hotel was reasonable. Yes, I know there were. Jody stayed in, and it was pretty cheap. Right, fair enough. But yeah, I was one of the people that stayed. Well, not stayed. But I set up a tent because, again, like I said before, throughout the past experiences being at a PA summer camp, which is bring my tent along, and of course I would, just sleep in the tent basically. It's not exactly like a great tent. It's meant to be a two-person tent, but it looks really tiny on the outside. Maybe at some point in the future, I can maybe invest in like a bigger tent if possible, but I doubt it. So we'll definitely see to that in the future, if again if possible with that. So because it's before the school holidays, the local B&Bs are cheap. Oh, that's right, because I think in England the school holidays start a bit later on, whereas here in Scotland, I believe they start late June, early July, if I'm not mistaken. But then, of course, uh, with the Scottish schools, the pupils go back to school mid to late August again, if I'm not mistaken. So there we go. And Sally Moody, I've got a tent you can have. Oh, really? Great. That would be fantastic. I mean, if you're okay with that, then yeah, that would be fantastic. So, well, that'd be perfect. So, uh, okay, cool. So yeah, that would be cool for again for next year's camp. Saying that, I really don't know what we're gonna do to top this year's camp in terms of like what can we maybe do, what can we maybe add with it, because again there was a lot of I didn't participate in it, but there was a lot of tug of war, again for the regional groups as well as for the kids participate in it. I'm trying to think what else there could be in terms of like improvements and all of that. It really just felt like a very family friendly type of environment for this year's camp, in my opinion. So that was a plus. I'm just trying to think like what could be. I mean, besides the amount of days for the camp, I really don't know what could be made as improvements for the camp. But anyways, so was there a lake or a river nearby or a pub, Chief Moody? I know there was maybe a local pub that's pretty nearby, or I think it was a pub slash restaurant. I didn't go to it because again that would have been the Friday, and of course my colleague and I didn't get there until like much later on. But yeah, there was a local pub slash restaurant that was pretty nearby, so it wasn't actually too far of a walk from what I can see. In terms of like lake or rivers, I'm not sure. I know there was like a mass. I remember there was a mass. Well, not massive, but it was a puddle, a pretty big puddle that was quite close to the farm. So um, maybe there were lakes and rivers during the hike, but that was maybe further away. I'm not entirely too sure, but there we go. And Sally, yes, Moody is a four birth 10, and it's nice. I will send you pics of it up. You're welcome to it. I bought a different one. Well, excellent. Thank you very much, Aunt Sally. So, yeah, again, if you're fine with that, just send me photographs of it, and I'll see if I can see what we can do with it when it comes to that. That would be fantastic. Because the 10 I have currently, the one I used for this year, and when was the first time I actually used that 10? It must have been because I used a different 10 for the camp back in 2022, the first camping event I went to for PA. But the second camp I went to, I think the first 10 I used was maybe either damaged or I couldn't exactly find the bits and pieces for it. So I ended up getting like another 10, which of course was the one I used for 2023 camp, the camp last year, and of course for this year's camp. And the 10 that I have at the moment is not exactly too bad, but it's kind of like one of those, well, I kind of need a 10 and I don't really have a lot of money, nor do I have any of the time to actually invest in like a proper 10. So I'll just go to like a big supermarket and just buy this 10, that sort of thing, just so that I actually have a 10 to go to this camping event, that sort of idea. But yeah, that would be fantastic when it comes to like a new 10. What time is it now? 6:54. Right, guys. I definitely need to go because, like I said, I got something important to go to at 7 p.m. So I know this might be cutting the stream a bit short, but I'm just gonna end the stream there. There's not gonna be like an outro song or anything like that because, like I said, I literally have to go like right now. But I want to thank everyone for tuning into the show tonight. I should be back. I'm going to see if I can try and do this new scheduling this coming Saturday, or actually no, maybe if I'm busy on Saturday. Fuck. See, this is a thing with me. I have an idea I want to do for the show for Mood of the Nation, but then there'll be something that comes up, and I'm like, oh wait, I'm doing this on that particular day. Damn it. Maybe. Well, I don't know because Mark and Co. I don't know because Mark and Co normally do like a PA related stream on a Sunday. Do you know what? I'll have a think about it and see what I can do with it. I can even ask some of the people, other regional officers, and see what they may think of it. Because if I'm going to continue on doing Mood of the Nation, I really want to figure out what would be the best day for the stream and what time of day would be best for the stream, that sort of thing. Because as long as it's something, if it's during a work day, all right, fair enough. But if it's like, it would be better if I was off work, that sort of thing. But I'll have a look at it, I'll have a think about it, and I'll get back to you guys, and maybe even give you guys an update on Telegram and see from there with that. So. Thanks for the stream, Chief Ray. Just been great to catch up with you and Sally. Well, thank you very much for watching Streaker Beacon. And Sally in the chat, thanks for the stream, Moody. We'll message you about the tent. Message me if I forget. Thanks for the stream. Again, thank you very much, Aunt Sally, and I hope you see you all again in the stream or in the chat as well. And also hope to see you guys again in the next PA event, whether it be the conference or maybe even the camp next year, but we'll see with that. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'm going to have to go just now. I'm going to put this banner up here before I leave, which is support Patriotic Alternative. Also, if you're Scottish and if you want to get involved, there is an email address in the description down below to contact me on, which is scotland@patrioticalternative.org.uk. Is that actually accurate? Damn it. I think it is actually. Let me just double check because obviously for me being the original organizer, there's people that want to get involved. And I just want to see scotland@patrioticalternative.org.uk. Yeah, that was definitely correct. So if you're if you want to get involved with PA, if you're based in Scotland, you want to get involved with PA Scotland, then contact me through that email address, which, if I should have it here actually, which would be here, Scotland at patrioticalternative.org.uk. That's Scotland at patrioticalternative.org.uk. Just send me an email and I'll get back to you and try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can with that. So, and also support Patriotic Alternative. With that, thank you very much for your time, folks. This is Chief Moody signing out. You have been watching the Mood of the Nation podcast, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Take care, stay safe, enjoy the rest of your week, enjoy the weekend when it comes, and I hope to see you all again in the next one. Thank you all, and good night. Take care.